For once in my life. I wish we did that after the fucking.
Did you hear that, Glenn?
No,
Oh no. It's happening again.
not again.
The Amityville horror. The horror. The following podcast contains spoilers for the Amityville horror 1979. You have been warned.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of KFR News Radio. This is your host, Glen Button, along with your host, Miguel Magusta.
Hello. How you doing, Glenjamin?
I'm doing pretty okay.
Yeah.
Busy boy, my body hurts, my mentality hurts, everything just does not feel good right now, but that's what comes with seasonal depression, baby. Yeah. No, I'm actually not that bad.
That's good. That's good.
Just a little rant, having some fun. It's a little toasty up in the attic. How are you, Mike?
I am doing House of Gucci, as we it seems to be the theme.
For the third time now.
Yeah, two Gucci Tanucci. No, yeah, it was pretty good. I haven't, after last episode, fall in the film festival, it feels like I haven't watched that much. But I'm looking. It's a nice chunk of 7 movies. It looks like 6, 7,
still not
6,
bad.
6 movies. Yeah.
But
yeah, Glenn, what did you watch since our last recording?
So not much. So we watched The Wild Robot, which should be up on the YouTubes.
Tis.
It's beatboxing, baby. Let's go. So that was started as a stutter, and it actually turned into a beatbox. So that was cool. So that was a good movie, or was it? Go find out on that YouTube thing. But I had been trying to rewatch Spartacus, and I cannot remember for the life of me if I ever finished the last season. I am on the last season now, which is fucking sick, because then I get to move on with my life after. Not that it's bad, it's just after Andy Whitfield died, it just left a hole in my heart. It just cannot be filled.
Yes.
My man, I forget his name already, Liam or something like that.
Character's name? Because you just said is the actor's name.
So there's 2 actors. After Andy died, he was replaced by a different actor whose name is escaping me right now.
I misunderstood.
I'm pretty sure his name is Liam.
Yeah, I misunderstood what you were saying.
Unforgivable. All right, so it doesn't want to tell me what that actor's name is. Anyway, so I'm on the last season of that, and then after that, we watched Joker, which we actually just wrapped up recording about that.
Yes.
So that'll be on YouTube eventually, too.
It should be up there
before
by
this,
the time
actually.
this comes out, yeah.
Yeah. So go check that out. But Mike, what the hell were those 7 movies, man?
There were 6 movies. I miscounted. Wild Robot, as you said. Then I watched one of the Oscar-nominated international films from this past Oscars, The Teacher's Lounge. It is German, I believe, if not Austrian. They definitely speak
Liam
German.
McIntyre. Sorry.
Thank you for that. So it's a movie where someone in a German school keeps stealing stuff, and a teacher accuses someone, and then that someone's child goes to that school, and it's just a spiral of how that all goes awry. Really good film. Really, really liked it. Highly suggest people check it out. Then, because I had to, I watched Megalopolis.
I had to.
Francis Ford Coppola. You know me. I have to see things.
Yeah, I know.
Unless it's things like, I don't know. I feel drawn to see things like this, even if I don't really want to. And mainly, I just wanted to see how much of a disaster it was. And I gotta say, I admire Francis Ford Coppola for taking a massive fucking swing and a massive fucking miss. I know people who actually think this is a masterpiece. Our friend John Clark loves it. I despised it, but got to give credit where credit's due. He tried something.
Yeah.
It didn't work for me. It worked for John. Love that it worked for John. But I cannot recommend this movie if you haven't seen it.
There's been a little trend going around. It's like so film majors go to see the movie, and then a lot of them are like, it insists upon itself.
I mean, a lot of Francis Ford Coppola's films insist upon themselves, but a lot of the times they work. But yeah, I didn't like it. It was funny though. It was funny how bad it was, in my opinion. Yeah. So it's one of those. I do suggest people check it out with friends because it's a fun laugh. But yeah, it is not good. Then I saw a movie called Azrael with Samara Weaving. It's like after the rapture, the remaining people take a vow of silence, so they can't speak, which is weird because it's weird. It says that the sin of speaking, but speaking was never a sin. So I don't know what church this writer went to, but it's weird. It's a fine movie. It has its moments. There's like no dialogue in it, and when there is dialogue, it's a different language that doesn't have subtitles. So yeah, it's a horror movie that is released around Halloween. So there's just a lot of ones. Then I saw Joker Folle à Deux. The review should be up there, and then I watched Amityville Horror, which we're going to get into right now.
Hello?
Hello, Kathy? Father Delaney, there's something very important.
Mommy, I want to go home.
What do you want from us?
What's all going on? We have to do something.
I'm coming apart! Oh, Mother of God, I'm coming apart!
28 days after the Lutz family moved into their dream house. They were running for their lives. What happened to them is an experience in terror you will never forget. And you will believe in the Amityville Horror.
Newlyweds and their 3 children move into a large house where a mass murder was committed. They start to experience strange, inexplicable manifestations which have strong effects on everyone living in or visiting the house. Directed by Stuart Rosenberg, written by Sander Stern, Jay Anson, based on the book by Jay Anson and George Lutz, who is the stepfather in this. That's played by James Brolin, starring James Brolin, Margot Kidder, Rob Steiger, Don Stroud, and others. This is, of course, as it says, based on a true story of a family that moved into a house in which a mass murder had taken place. Hold on, I wrote down the timeline of everything, and it's actually kind of fucked. And kind of, if you ask me, explains everything. The murders happened in November of 1974. The Lutz family moves in December 1975, so a little over a year. And they move out in January of 1976. September 1977, the book is released. July 1979, the film is released. And if you ask me, that is way too fucking fast to make money off of a family's murder.
That is all very close together.
Yes, it makes me feel icky. It does not feel good. The people involved should be ashamed of themselves. This is clearly a cash grab to me, especially since most of it has been proven to be a hoax. But we're not here to talk about that, except for we will talk about it later. We're here to talk about the movie. The movie overall is fine. It's a little less fine when you know how much bullshit is in it. But, you know, it's a well-made movie. overall. You know, I don't hate it. I don't love it. I think the majority of my feelings towards it are knowing how gross and disgusting capitalism is when it comes to making money off of the tragedy of an entire family being murdered. But, you know, it's an effectively made film that at times is a little too slow, but that is probably its biggest weakness. And yeah, I think it's a decent film overall if you're ignoring the behind the scenes aspect of it. But Glenn,
If you just shut it all away.
yes, is this your first time watching this version of it?
Oh, hell no.
Hell no. Okay.
This is actually one of my first kind of memories of any horror movie. This is way back in the vault for me. I used to watch this all the time when I was younger. This was, for me, one of the greatest horror movies for me personally.
Yeah.
Just saying. And I believe, I can't remember which one of the sequels there were, but I actually liked one of them way more than I liked this one. I can't for the life of me remember which one it was, whether it was 2 or 3. I definitely remember liking the Ryan Reynolds one, but that's because he was just buff chopping wood. Or was it? I can't tell.
It's when your man crush with him started.
It was pretty damn close. That
Yeah.
and Blade Trinity and all that. He was just a goofy fella.
Yeah.
But yeah, so obviously being a younger lad, I didn't know any of the stories or anything like that it was actually real or anything of the sorts. Or maybe I did because I thought movies were real for a while. So that was cool. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie when I was younger, but rewatching it, I realized a lot of flaws that it had, that obviously we've done this for so long now that I kind of just take in, that now I have to pick apart in movies.
Yeah.
like the fact that a lot of just shit happens so fast and kind of out of nowhere that it just feels so choppy. Like there's this one thing that happens, then it moves on, and then they move on. And now I'm getting sick. This other thing happens, and then this other thing, and then he's getting more sick, and then this other thing happens, and it's just kind of all over the place, without kind of being smooth about the way it goes into those things. It kind of just like I said, just straight choppy with it. Like was not a fan of that on this viewing. It was kind of not really frightening is the word I was looking for, but for lack of better words, frightening. How dare they scare me with their choppy editing and shit like that?
Yeah, it's definitely, it feels like, and I feel that there may be a reason for this. I did a lot of research when preparing for this podcast. The most research I've done in a long time for a movie. It feels like a drunk person writing a story where like, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. And
Even
I
with
felt
the characters themselves, too.
Yeah, and then I felt that way before I was reading up on it, and there was a lawsuit about between the Lutz family, I believe, and the defense lawyer for the man who actually killed his family. And the defense lawyer said that it's everything in the book is fake, or at the very least extremely exaggerated, and that him and the Lutzes came up with the plot and everything that was going to happen over a couple bottles of wine. So that's I mean, I'm just going off of what he said.
All right.
So, you know, who knows who's telling the truth? Usually I go with the person who's not making up ghosts when it comes to telling the truth. I think the reason I'm so skeptical about this movie is how fast it happened. And nothing happens that fast when it comes to writing the book and then selling the rights to the book and then making the movie, except for wanting to make money. And I think my theory about the whole thing is that the Lutz family bought this house, saw how much work it needed,
$80,000.
and had buyer's remorse. So they made up this whole thing in order to make the house worth more than it is by being like this, you know, movie relic, and then B, making money off of like the book deal and the movie deal and just, making up for their losses. And it just
it kind of worked out for him.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the only thing I don't like about it is that it exploits an actual family's tragedy. That like if that didn't happen, and it was just they were making up. Oh, it's buried on a sacred Native American site, which they do say, which the tribes in that area say that is not true.
Yes.
If it was just that, I'd be like, okay, that's one thing.
How long ago did Poltergeist come out from this?
Poltergeist was 84, I think.
Oh wow.
It was in the 80s. 82.
So they could have went that route.
They could have, yeah.
If they just thought about it.
Yeah. So and then there's this documentary too called My Amityville Horror, where it follows one of the sons, Daniel Lutz. His name's different in the movie for obvious reasons. Mm-hmm. And the whole time the whole film is talking about how abusive George was, James Brolin's character, and he still believes that everything that happened, but he was also a child when it happened and having an abusive parent. So I hate to say that he's an unreliable source, but an impressionable child who's being abused by a terrifying man, thinking that, ghosts are making him do this.
I'm laughing at a terrible time. I'm sorry.
You are laughing at a terrible time. But it just all seems like, a perfect storm for a hoax. I didn't even mean to get into this fast. I'm sorry.
No,
we were talking about the movie.
It's okay because I started doing some research here myself. I wanted to see which of the movies I had seen, which I thought I liked more. And I was curious on a standpoint of like if I saw them today, would I still feel that way? I think with this movie, like I said, I think it's so kind of choppy in the way the events kind of happen and like how fast they go into them, and it just doesn't feel like it's on a track smooth enough.
Yeah.
To make it feel like, obviously, this is a 40-year difference, not give or take, obviously, not really, so like The Conjuring or something like that. Obviously, it can't be that smooth. We've upgraded on technology and editing so vast and well. But I'm curious with the second one, because that is the one that I also saw that I think I like more. It's also got the dude from Rocky in it, the cousin or the uncle of Adrian. Where was I going with this? What I was looking at here and why I started laughing in the middle of your
talk about child abuse,
your sad news was that what I'm noticing is with each sequel they started to get more and more into the supernatural. So like Amityville 2 is the possession. So like one of the kids, I guess, probably after they move in, after the Lutz family, I'm guessing because I don't actually remember. There's like an actual possession of one of the teenage kids. And then the third one, Amityville 3D. And on the cover of that, they've got a terrible little Photoshop job of a demon claw with 3 fingers on it. And it looks terrible, and then I scrolled through the images, and the images don't look too much better. It looks like a sea creature.
Yeah.
And a little toy. Anyway, that off the rails, just like the movie editing that I'm talking about here. But yeah, going back, I definitely liked this way more as a kid. And just kind of rewatching it today, obviously, for me, because I can't watch movies beforehand and think at the same time. I noticed that the characters just felt so wonky too. Obviously, with George, like he's kind of got an excuse. He's got fucking demons in his head, probably, literally. But they all just felt so generically written, and they did things that just probably made sense in a book, to be honest with you. Like banging. Having full-fledged sex with door wide open, having one full leg sock on and shit like that.
When you have kids.
Get it, girl. You had 3 kids. All just brand new, moved in. Definitely not worried about people walking in at all. not the slightest. If you're inserting some ween, you silly little James Brolin. Anyway, but also, kind of jumping right to it, a thing that bothered me the most is I forgot, not necessarily forgot, I remembered when I got into the middle of the movie how quick and abrupt the ending was.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so fast. Like it's just like you got this incline of some shit going on, and then it just drops, and we're moved on, and then end credit title roll of like where the family is, and then that's it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I even
that
felt
was
that way when I was younger. I was like, okay, that's the movie. Hell yeah. All right.
Yeah, I mean, that was a bigger thing in like the 40s and 50s, where like endings weren't really fleshed out. They're just like, that's the story, goodbye. So that was just kind of par for the course. Although I think by 79 that was kind of a outdated thing. I don't know. I'm just going off of what I've experienced. I don't know for certain if that was like the style then. But yeah, it's just weirdly paced. And like you said, the characters are really weird. Like the priest character just like walks into their house when no one's inside. Great, and they never. It'd be one thing if they showed how close they were, but I'm fairly certain they don't share a scene together at all.
No, they don't.
Yeah,
They talk about after he went to visit to what the fuck is it? He went to bless the house. I was just waving a random smudge stick. What the fuck are they? Incense.
Sage.
He went to bless the house, and then nobody was there. So I'm assuming he just went in to bless it without them there. But she did talk about how her aunt was coming, and although I think that actually it was her aunt who happened to be a nun, but she's so close to the Catholic staff congregation that they feel like family or something like that. They talk about it, but you don't get a scene with them after that besides her aunt, who's the nun.
Yeah.
And she's like, "So fuck this place. I need to get out. Give me my tea."
This and the when did The Exorcist come out? 73. I feel like
Mike just finished the book, guys.
I did. So like the thing that I want to preface this by saying I'm not a Satanist. I could be wrong. But this and The Exorcist were like the beginning of the satanic panic shit. That made everyone hate D&D for some reason, and had people like turn on Halloween and stuff. Just absolutely bonkers reasoning for stuff. And when I was reading The Exorcist, William Peter Blatty's description of what Satanism is was just so like obviously what the Catholic Church tells people Satanism is, which my understanding, at least, I have a few friends who claim themselves to be Satanists, is that for the most part, Satanism is more of like a mockery of religion, kind of like the flying spaghetti monster, where people don't really believe in Satan, but they kind of do it to be provocative. I could be wrong. But I know a few people that say they're Satanist in that sense. And like William Peter Blatty was in The Exorcist was just like, oh, the Satanism is you can't climax sexually unless you're blaspheming God. I'm like, where the fuck did you get that, William Peter Blatty?
Yeah.
Like, what does that have to do with if you're looking at it literally worshiping Satan? Like that. It's just people so obsessed with how people have sex. It's just really weird. And
with one really long sock.
Yeah, in this it was really like they kept talking about Satan. Is it the people? Is it the ghosts of the people that were killed? Is it the Native American tribe lands, or is it Satanism? It can't be all three. Like, pick a lane. Pick a lane. It just wanted to like cherry pick from different sources of hauntings, but never like stuck to one. And maybe that was part of the mystery factor, but it just kind of made the whole thing laughable. Where it's just like, oh, Satanist did this, and he did it for Satan. Just such a weird. I haven't said Satan this much since I was in church, probably.
As long as you don't say hail, you're good.
But it's just
We don't talk about the weather here.
no. It's not hailing.
No hail.
Yeah, no hail, Satan. But yeah, it's just it just didn't. The fact I'm kind of interested in reading the book because it feels like it's very unorganized. If this is based off the book must be so unorganized. And if the claims from the defense lawyer of the man who murdered his family is true, that explains it. They were drunk when coming up with the plot, so there is no rhyme or reason to the plot. But that was probably my biggest annoyance with this, that it didn't want to pick what it was. And I guess they think they can get away with that because it's a true story, but it's so obviously bullshit. Mm-hmm. Granted, hindsight's 20/20.
Well,
but it's so obviously bullshit that it bothers me.
I mean, you and James Brolin here feel the same. Even though James Brolin became friendly with George Lutz and his children, he was highly doubtful of their story.
Yeah. Well, good. That makes me feel better. Because I admire James Brolin. I think he's a great actor. He was in
And, like James Brolin, star Margot Kitty also went on record saying she didn't believe the Amityville story either.
Yeah.
So the full cast...
Margot Kidder, by the way.
What did I say?
You said Kitty.
Meow.
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 But a lot of the things that happened in the house that were... The children say that they were exaggerated. Mm-hmm. There are things that just happen in old houses. Like the swarm of flies. If you had like 5 or 6 flies in the house, you'd be like, "There's a swarm of flies in here," because that's weird to have 6 flies in a house. The random odors, like you don't know what's in the walls. You might, if you had a chimney, something might have crawled in the chimney and died. You could have mold somewhere. Like the odors happen for all kinds of reasons. The window shutting on the child's hand. I have a window that in my house, which was built in 1920 or 21. I want to say 1920. And if you don't prop the window open, it will stay up for a little bit and then just slam shut. It's not ghosts. It's just poorly made windows because it's made over 100 years ago. It's
then 2 really weak men. Like,
yeah,
go to the gym, guys.
Yeah,
chop more wood.
But it's just everything in this is explainable just because it's an old house. Door slamming, drafty house.
Well, even the book here, if this trivia is correct, Jay Anson, who wrote the book for Amityville Horror, also wrote a screenplay out for the film, and the producers turned it down. Imagine just having that thing just ready and being like, you want to cash in more on this?
It all screams they're trying to cash out to me.
Yeah.
Like, and again, fine, except for the fact that you're exploiting a tragedy. But I know more about the Amityville horror case after having watched this the first time. The first time I didn't know anything. And now I just can't watch the movie without being angry. And I didn't know that when picking it. I thought I was just to be like, oh yeah. But then I was like reading up on it again, and I was like, oh, this movie's just icky. It's gross. It's capitalism at its worst.
It's not the... Oh, here we go. A true story behind the movie of the special relationship with 2 modern horror movies, The Conjuring, Annabelle. Ed Lorraine Warren was involved in the investigation of the real house and served demonology advisors of Amityville Horror 2, The Possession. So my aunt and uncle were in that movie. Hell yeah. Oddly enough, Amy's doll is Raggedy Ann, which is what the real Annabelle is. Yada, yada. Anyway, just came across that little fact.
You mean one of the most popular dolls of all time?
They couldn't get the copyright for it, so they made a new one.
That's shocking that one of the most popular dolls of all time is in 2 different movies.
Wow.
Yeah.
What the hell was I going to...
Also, another like nail in the coffin of if this is a hoax. Not a single family that has moved in after the Lutzes has had any experience that they claim.
Uh-huh.
So you're telling me that they just wanted to mess with the Lutz family and now the ghosts are gone.
And
Okay.
apparently the current owners changed the windows to regular rectangle windows so it doesn't look so fucking cool.
Also, it's blurred on Google Maps, which I found out while researching this, which I get.
Probably
I get
for the
it.
best. A little privacy.
Yeah, but the thing is, the address is public.
Yeah.
So like the address is out there, but
it's like the Breaking Bad house. It's like the people have huge fucking gates outside that house.
Yeah, those poor people at the Breaking Bad house.
Well, apparently the one owner of the house just sits outside and tells people to fuck off.
Good. Yeah.
Imagine, as you should, but imagine just being like, you know what? I'm just gonna sit outside and yell at everybody all day.
Yeah. I mean, how many times are you gonna have pizza thrown on your house before you decide enough's enough? Like,
yeah, I mean, free pizza.
yeah.
I just put a tarp up there.
It's
let it rip. I just put a table up there actually and be like, how's your aim? Hit my plate, please.
Fucking movie tourists are the weirdest, the worst. I hate them.
Yes.
Look, I understand wanting to go to a place, but like stay on the sidewalk and move on after you see it.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Hundo percento.
No one gives a shit if you also threw a pizza onto the Breaking Bad house. In fact, most people are going to dislike you because you did that.
To me, I still feel like this is still a staple of horror in my childhood, at least.
Yeah.
But on the rewatch, seeing as many movies as I have now, I could see all the flaws with it. And the ending is the only thing I'll say that has always stuck with me that I always hated because it was so abrupt and just it's so declined on like what the rest of the movie felt.
It makes it like the rest of the movie is unbelievable to begin with, but at least it's like
it was all that build up.
Yeah, I could, but then like the stairs start bleeding, the walls start bleeding. Like, really?
And then he falls into the steps into this puddle of goo. And then the dog gets him out. And then
I will say I'm glad the dog didn't die.
I'm glad the dog lived, yes.
Yeah, the dog's the best part of the entire goddamn movie.
It is crazy though how fucking Jody has powers strong enough to not just possess the house, just straight up blinded the father, the old priestman, Rod Steiger. I don't know why my voice is doing this thing, but yeah, just straight up like saying, "Nah, you're not allowed to turn on the middle of a road," and then also just being like, "I'm gonna fuck with this statue." I don't know. I feel like personally, when it comes to like movies of haunted houses and shit like that, I feel like the demon or the ghost or whatever it should be stuck to that land or that house wherever it had died or whatever it is. Did they even say what the ghost or who the ghost was? I mean, there's obviously Jody, but was Jody
that's
one
what
of
I
the
was
previous
saying.
kids?
I mean, they probably changed the name if that's what they're going for. But that's what I'm getting at, where like it doesn't decide what it wants to be. It says it's a satanic thing, but then it says it's a Native American thing. But then it's also the family. And I know that they're saying that Satanism made the kid or the guy kill his family, but like it's just
it's
dumb.
all over
it's
the
dumb.
place.
It's all over the place. The fucking
like,
cat eyes.
like George does get possessed at a certain point, but like I don't know. Still a staple, but I'm stapling my forehead.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely iconic. It's iconic, obviously. Unfortunately for the current owners of the house. If I owned that house, I would also try to change those windows as soon as possible so people stopped recognizing it.
I like the windows. But I don't own the
I
house, so I don't
like
give
it
a
too.
shit.
But if you had people keep coming to your house and harassing, trespassing, and all that,
Especially since it's like on a lake or a river or something, so the water's public, so people are allowed to just pass by it all the time.
Yeah.
So you're probably getting a lot of hoopla going around that water.
Hoopla.
Hoopla!
That's all I got to say, really.
That's all I got to say, too.
Yeah. So that does it for a review of the Amityville Horror. That brings us to our judgment. As always, it needs to be a unanimous decision. Whether that goes on the KFR shelf with the legs of Apostle and Handmaiden. This was my pick, so I get to go first. And honestly, I'm torn between a yes because it's iconic and no because it's not that great. And honestly, that's where I'm at right now. I'm on the fence with myself.
I'm what's the word? I'm partial to it wanting to go on the list because it has been a part of my life for so long. And honestly, if I see it on TV or some shit, I'm probably going to put it on. But then again, that's kind of nostalgia more than that is it actually being a good movie for me.
Yeah.
I like the movie, but I mean, I definitely saw all the flaws this time around. I can't tell you the last time I actually saw it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I want to say probably not going on the shelf,
Okay.
even though I like it, but that's more for nostalgia purposes.
Yeah.
than that
I don't want to
is-
break your little heart mostly.
Don't,
'cause
no, you're
I
good.
am-
But
I
we
am
love
leaning more no.
we love Margot Kidder so much.
I mean, I've only seen her in 2 things that I remember, and they've both been for this podcast. So.
Yeah,
But yes.
yeah.
So it's a no all around. The Amityville horror does not make it on the KFR shelf with Legs of Apostle and Handmaiden. That brings us to next episode's film, week 2 of the 2024 Spooktacular Spooktober, and it is Glenn's turn to pick. Glenn, wait, no, this is week 3. Week 3 is going to be. Because we started with streaming. Yes. What are we watching?
Oh, I can't wait to tell you. So I'm not going to tell you it all.
Oh,
Found on Tubi, Max, YouTube subscription, Hulu subscription, Amazon subscription, YouTube TV prescription or subscription, yada yada. An alien life form consumes everything in its path as it grows and grows. Can you think of what it is? Miguel
beware
Magustone?
of the blob. It's
It
I
is
forget the
indeed
words.
the blob.
Every one of you watching this screen, look out. Because soon, very soon, the most horrifying monster menace ever conceived will be oozing into this theater. From then on, there's no stopping the blob as it spreads from town to town. It's indestructible. It's indescribable. Nothing can stop it.
This town is in danger.
How can it be stopped? Mob hysteria sweeps one city. Before long, the nation, and then the world could fall before the blood-curdling threat of the blob.
Starring Steve McQueen and a cast of exciting young people.
yes.
Yes, I feel like I shouldn't have to make you wait for the next Halloween going around or whatever it was. So I decided to bring it upon us. Lo and behold, shot at the Colonial Theater, which we frequent from time to time.
And the Downingtown Diner.
And the Downingtown Diner, directed
Detail
by
represent.
Irvin S. Yearworth Jr., Russell S. Why the fuck do they have such long-ass initials and names? Russell S. Doughton, Doughton Jr., written by Theodore Simonson, Kay Lineker, Simonson, Synonym, Kay Lineker, Irvine H. Milgate, stars Steve McQueen, Annetta. Jesus, I think every time I do this shit, I have a fucking stroke. Annetta Corsout, Earl Rowe, Alan Howland, Stephen Chase, John Benson, George Caress, or Caress if you're feeling nice enough. Lee Payton, Albert Smith. I think you had me watch this a while ago. I can't remember if it was the 88 or the 58. I'm pretty sure it was the 58.
I have never seen the 88 version. It is an abomination to anyone in the Phoenixville, Downingtown area. That's I don't know. I haven't seen it, but
I can't remember, to be honest. This was probably 10 years ago now, which is kind of crazy to think about out loud. But yeah, so it was on the was it the streaming, or was it you just saying you wanted to do the blob? I don't remember.
I mean, I always want to talk about the
I
Blob
always want
because
to talk, and now we get
Yeah.
to. Either way,
Yeah.
it popped up. We didn't get to do it the last episode or two, and now we get to. So fucking eat your heart out, goddamn
Yes.
Spooktober, baby. Let's go.
Yes. So, I'm so excited. The Blob from
Tubi
1958.
and HBO Max.
Yes, is available on HBO Max and Tubi and all that stuff that he said. That is our assignment for next episode. Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching. As always, you can check out our website at www.keystonefilmreview.com. On Instagram, we're Keystone_film_review. On Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Keystone Film Review, and on Letterboxd, I'm Mike, KFR.
And I am Glen, KFR.
And that will do it until next week when we just brag about the most popular thing from where we're from.
And we won't stop.
Except for America's independence, God damn it.
Eagle scream.
Yes. But yes, I'm very excited for this. So, Glenn, thank you for picking this.
Yes, thank you for noticing me, Senpai.
And we will see you in the next episode. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.